All right, legends, we are live. Yes, Bitcoin dropping down. Tariff war is absolutely insane. We have seen a little bit of a shakeout here in the last couple of hours. A little bit of a drop because of China announcing some, massive tariff here. As you can see, 84% on the US goods beginning April 10th. Absolutely insane. This was just announced less than an hour ago, and we did get a big shakeout, just a big shakeout on the lower time frames, right? On the higher time frames, nothing much has happened. But today we're going to be doing the technical analysis on the price of Bitcoin, guys. Analyze what are the highest probability scenarios. Of course, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen next, right? Which is the next big move. But we do have some levels. We do have some patterns that we can build up and see which one could very likely happen and get ready for some trading setups, right? So this is what we're going to be doing, technical analysis on the price of Bitcoin. Let's take a look here at the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, guys. All good here by the looks of things. Let's say hello to everybody, and we'll dive in straight to the technical analysis here for the price of Bitcoin, because we've got higher time frame scenarios, all right? It does look like that the momentum is losing a little bit of steam. Okay, we are downtrending. Okay, nothing too exciting to talk about a reversal just yet. Okay, the local lows are very likely to be claimed. Okay, just because of the price structure that we do have from the last few days, there is high probability, no matter how big of a bounce that does happen to 80K, $83,000, we are very likely going to take out at some point the $74,500, the lows from Monday, because of how we moved up here. All of this does look very corrective. I am not too convinced that the market is going to bottom out here and get a massive reversal. So what we're looking at here throughout this range is likely corrective. This movement to the upside that we had between Monday and, part of Tuesday was not impulsive. It was very three-wavy, very corrective, low volume, not convincing, guys. So it looks like that the range will continue throughout the next coming hours at least. Yesterday, we did do a video update that we were highly likely going to form a higher low in this region. My goodness, we almost took out the low. We did get a little bit of a bounce. I do think that a little bit of a larger bounce is possible. But what we need to do is get our technical knowledge, tools, and really analyze the potential trading setups, right? Because we are interested in a move of a couple of $1,000s, right? Even $1,000, we can make some money, and we need to know the exact levels where we could take that opportunity. On yesterday's video, we're talking about, we could come back down, back test this level and get a little bit of a bounce. We did come down to that level, even dropped a few $100s beneath it, and managed to form a higher low, luckily, right? Kind of getting the bounce. But this range does look like it can continue for the next coming hours. But with this aggressive drop that we did have and this bounce that we're getting right now, it does look quite bearish, right? We're not going to lie. It does look quite bearish for the momentum to actually continue down and claim the low. However, there is a bullish case scenario, but this bullish case scenario, we need a lot of waves still to be formed here to really say, all right, guys, this might be looking bullish, and the corrective move, might be a good sign to get into a long position, unless you're scalping and day trading in this range for shorts and longs. But for a proper sign of strength and a reversal, guys, we don't have it, right? We don't have it. So more downside is expected. And the $74,300 low that we did have from last Monday is very expected to be claimed, right? With this downtrend, right? There's no big reason at the moment to say the low is in here, this is going to be a double bottom and we're going to spike up, right? No big major reasons, especially with the price action that we had on Monday. When you want to see a big, strong, possible reversal, you want to see a big impulse, right? Where the market gets a leg up, a correction, and then the third wave, very explosive, right? Then a correction and then another move up, right? 5 waves to the upside, like very strong bullish momentum. This that we had on Monday, this was not very bullish at all. We did get a big spike here, but it was a very 3-wave structure. Then a lower high. Then we just formed, we just started crumbling here throughout the last 24 hours. There's nothing bullish about this chart. Of course, as we mentioned on yesterday's video, the probability of still continuing a range here is highly likely just because of the three-wave structure here and how the price moved to the downside. If this is going to be an ABC, right, a correction, we want to see the market move down impulsively, right? Okay, this is it. However, we got some information right over here that is telling us the market's not moving down impulsively. What does this mean? Well, this means that the range will likely continue. This is why on yesterday's video, we pointed out that, hey, the market's not ready to claim the low. Bitcoin will range now for the next coming days. This is on yesterday's videos, right? We almost claimed the low yesterday, but we did not, right? So looking for a possible higher low here to get a bounce. A little bit of noise, right, throughout this formation. So we will likely range and we will likely not take out the lows just yet. Okay, will we take out the lows at some point? I believe so, right? This is looking very, very corrective market. And there's no signs of strength, no big volume, no big breakout of structure. So we realize that all of this is just a bunch of noise. And at some point, we are going to take out the lows, right, in an attempt to break down. Okay, so we'll be going through a little bit more technical using Fibonacci, using the waves, using our levels of resistance, the confluence levels, naked pointer controls, right, previous week levels, and, basically getting all the confluence on the chart to try and come and map the situation. If the price comes up to this zone, what could we expect? If the price comes down to this level, can we expect a bounce or a reaction, right? Or is it going to break down, right? So we'll be building up all of that, guys, in the next coming minutes. Let's just quickly say hello to the beautiful community. Get a drink of water, get your cup of tea, your Coca-Cola, whatever you want, guys, because we got a big one today. We got some epic news that we need to talk about and mainly focus on the Bitcoin technical analysis, right? Where we want to focus on the analysis and the good risk management to see if we can find some good trading opportunities. So let's go and say hello to the epic community that we do have, guys. How many likes do we have at the moment? I guess it's just under 100 likes. Let's try and smash that like button, guys, to at least 100 in the next coming minutes. And we'll dive in here through the Bitcoin technicals. We're going to start off a little bit with higher time frame, right? Just a little reminder on the downtrend. Is there any good reasons to be bullish right now with the world market conditions, right? World market conditions, the tariff war. There's no good sign, guys. There is no good sign after all, right? So let's go right over here. I got Jackie Wood, got my mother always giving support as always. Much love to you, mother. Oreo, hello. Good morning, legends. I like smash, says Form. Thank you very much. David Gruel, Pi Network due to pump or dump today? Well, I don't know. This is a pyramid scheme altcoin that I'm not really following, okay? So we might do some altcoins later on once we finished with Bitcoin. Bounce on 74,400 is weak. Just a matter of time or Betty is going down. Yes, I do think so. Also, VM. Good luck with 0 on Pi, David. Okay. We're going to see the 6.2. Yes, very possibly, maybe not that low. That coming to $62,000 is possible. I think, there's a lot of support at the 70K region, 68K region. We can discuss the amount of support that there is there on this stream. Without a doubt, we're going to get some relief rallies if we break down, okay, and head below 70K, okay? There's big support that I want to explain today on this live stream, just so you're aware that a massive waterfall, unless things just break down, guys, and we just get a capitulation event in crypto, another one, right? Well, eventually I would say, yeah, we could go down to 50K. Nobody knows, if we are going to capitulate $20,000, right, on the price of Bitcoin. So, but we go level to level, right? That's what we like to do. I'm waiting, Steven. Yes, I always love the content. Dynamic Dragon, thank you very much. Don't forget to smash up the like button, says In Tune. Thank you, my man. Kendor, hello, everybody. Anup, Andy, my man, what's up? What's up, Anup? I hope you're doing well. Alice Gareth there. Tinwala, hello, my man. Is the bull market over? We have been downtrending since 4 months now. This correction has been so long. Yes, very true. Big Don 25, smash up the like button. He was a winner a few weeks ago of $500 here on the stream. Afternoon, Omar. STPT Beach Charter 78K long, brother. We won't see 78 for a long time. Okay. Going under 74 next stop. Yes, very true. ABC pattern. It is. Yeah, we're going to discuss a few scenarios. Bearish one, bullish one. bearish ones have higher probability, okay? And it's very simple to explain that probability of the bearish case scenario. Stravos, Tony, two big paws. Much love to everybody. Aloha, Valerie. Let's go right away through the Bitcoin technical analysis. First of all, let's analyze a little bit of this local structure, guys, because I need to give a shout out to Aiden in the Legends trading community on Discord, guys, because you know who shorted right over here? I mean, I managed to jump into the short just because I saw the setup in the Legends trading community from our epic trader, Aiden. We had this pivot right over here for a short position. Did manage to get into a little short right there. Little double bottom here was acceptable. I want to explain this right away as a scalp trade, okay? Scalp day trade. But why was this such a good short position right over here? Even though we did not swing failure pattern from this lower high that was formed yesterday. Now, I know most of you do know the swing failure pattern scenario, right? From a lower high. It's always an epic, you know, possible trade that could happen. But there was a reason why we did not reach that level, okay? When we analyze the lows here from yesterday, early this morning, right, if you wish, right over here, we had this movement to the upside, then this movement, and then this one right over here, right? Of course, in a massive downtrend and this such aggressive move down, this is such an aggressive move down that we had yesterday. It was pretty brutal, right? We went from 80K to 74,500, right? It's over a 5,000 move to the downside. So pretty epic, pretty impulsive. It looked pretty scary. Eventually, the bouncers, you know, we want to look for shorts on the bouncers. That is, there's no doubt about it, right? You know, in a downtrend, follow the trend, my friend, because a lower high is going to give you, you know, if you do have your good technical tools, it's going to give you a good reason to jump into a short position. And the main reason of this short position in the Legends trading community, eventually, apart from, you know, being in a strong downtrend, is, yeah, you could map this situation as an ABC. There was a bullish case scenario that was looking pretty interesting, but then we got the China tariffs announcement, right, on US goods of 84% or so, something crazy, just about an hour ago, and we got this epic drop because of that news. But overall, what we were looking at here is the potential of an ABC. There was a way here, I did micro count this movement to the upside where you had a double 1-2 here, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. And what is interesting about this is the Fibonacci extension. Taking a look at Fibonacci extension from the low of early this morning at 74,500, when we get the Fibonacci extension tool here on the left, this third tab, second one right over here on the Fibs, we get Fibonacci extension from the A wave to the bottom of the B wave, and oh my goodness, we hit the 1.618 extension. It would have been nice to hit this lower high, right? That would have been just like the perfect storm. You're sweeping up liquidity from a lower high and you hit the 1.618 extension. Very, you know, this is more common for a third wave, but it's also, you know, it's okay as well for a C wave, right? Very much acceptable. So there was a three-wave structure on the formation. You're extending to the 1.618. You are also hitting the 50% Fibonacci from the highs of the range of the last few days, right? When you get Fibonacci from this wick up from Monday to the pivot low of early this morning, 50% was the fib that was exactly with the 1.618 extension from this move. When you are aggressively downtrending, any large relief rally to certain important Fibonacci levels is a good short position, right? And this was the short that Aiden provided, but to perfection, saying, you know, I'm entering here the lower, basically the rejection, enter trade after a swing failure pattern, right? A fake breakout from the 1.618 extension. So exactly nailing here the 1.618 extension right over here for the short position, right? This is how accurate and how good the risk management can be when you're waiting for the good levels, right? So shout out to Aiden in the Legends trading community here on Discord. By the way, if you do want to join the Legends, you do have the fourth link down below, guys. It is the fourth link. You have all of the modules to learn how to do the technical analysis, how to have good risk management. You've got Elliot wave theory, harmonics, how to measure the levels of support and resistance, right? The good confluence zones. You have the fourth link down below and you get access to the Legends trading community, okay? Check out the fourth link if you want to take your trading experience and education to the next level. Let's go right away through. Okay, that's pretty cool, right? Just something that I wanted to point out based on the trading activity that we had today. But on YouTube right now, we're going to really analyze the local scenarios, right? We're going to analyze what could be next, right? People, not too many viewers. We're having people that are literally just giving up, guys. But we trade the market, right? We try and look for day trading, scalping opportunities. Regardless, we can make money to the downside, to the upside. So yeah, we need to take advantage. You make money faster to the downside, actually, than to the upside, because the movements down are very, very fast, right? They are fast moves to the downside. You make money kind of quicker if you can get into, the good levels, right? So what is next for Bitcoin? Let's go quickly through the comment section. Say hello to the rest of the community. Let's see how many likes we do have, guys. Because, hey, I've put a few hours in getting some stuff ready for you today. And I need a little bit of love, guys. This is all that I need. I need a little bit of love. And I see the love with the like button getting smashed. So if we get the 200 likes, that would be absolutely awesome. And then I can go through the technical analysis. This gives me more energy and I can really go very fast on the different, possibilities that could happen in the next couple of weeks. Then eventually we're going to zoom in on the lower time frame, because lower time frame is muy importante as well. That's where we look for our day trading opportunities, day trading, scalping opportunities. Okay, so yeah, let's go. Let's say hello to the beautiful community. As that like button is just pumping, I need to say hello to the rest of the people that have just joined right now that are commenting. There will be a relief rally to $83,000. My man, this is a very good level. $83,000 is very interesting resistance, okay? Matter of fact, it is the point of control of this entire range that we formed throughout the last week of February to basically today, you could arguably discuss, right? The point of control of this entire region, the highest volume node of this massive consolidation that we had in the last 40 days is right over here. So this is going to be a tough nut to crack, guys. If the price were to magically relief rally up there, guys, I haven't got too much hope on Bitcoin. I would say we're going to dump down to 69K already, right? Or 68K. $69,000, that was the previous all-time high. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to actually put that level on the chart because it might just be a resistance, higher time frame resistance support flip. Imagine that. Let's get that level right away on the chart, okay, in the next coming seconds. But yeah, without a doubt, $83,000 is a crucial zone. When you take a look at the last lower highs of the last few weeks, right? Basically the highs of the range of this range over here, you can see that golden pocket is sitting exactly at $83,000. So golden pocket, the most respected Fibonacci retracement level and the point of control. Yeah, if we were to get some kind of magical relief rally up there in the next coming days, this is going to be a tough nut to crack. This is going to be, without a doubt, a high probability rejection point, whether it's going to be $2,000 or just $1,000, or it might be the top and it just rolls back down. Okay, so this is a crucial rejection pivot, $83,000. You got, point of control of this range, the golden pocket of the highs to the lows of the recent drop. It's a major level, right? Just on its own with Fibonacci and the point of control. So yeah, there are some scenarios looking at Elliott wave theory that we can point out to that zone, which we are going to be doing now in the next coming minutes. But out of curiosity, the all-time high, right, from the previous bull run, I think I must have it here anyway as a level here on the object tree. Must have it as a level. But yeah, literally it was 69,182 here on Bybit. So we can put previous all-time high, and we can put this right over here. We'll save this level, right, out of curiosity, because if we do come down there, we'll put a thick horizontal line right over there, and we'll see, this is a good zone. That is literally where we were getting resistance in 2024, right? We were trying to break. This is very common in a bull market, right? after a few years of testing an all-time high, well, you do struggle, right? And we did struggle right over here. It is highly likely that this zone is going to try and maintain, guys, right, on the higher time frame. It's going to try and hold the support. This is a higher time frame resistance support flip, right? It's the previous all-time high from the bull run, and we did struggle to break through it, right, throughout 2024. We did try and break through this zone, and eventually we did in the end, right? We did massively break out throughout the end of 2024. So coming down to this area, you know, I think the price is going to manage very, very well to find some support and get some kind of relief rally. Whether this relief rally is going to continue down, bear market, you know, this zone is extremely important, right? The 70K region, right? Give or take 69 to 71K is extremely strong as support, because it was the biggest resistance, right, on the higher time frame, right? So anyway, it's nice to see. We're not here to do that higher time frame and just speculate on a resistance support flip. We just need to be aware that this zone is very likely going to hold on at least for a few days. Whether it breaks down later on or not, you know, it's very likely to maintain its ground, right? Bitcoin's going to ground at this level at least for a few days, and then it might just break down or get an epic bounce. Okay, we really need to focus on the lower time frame technical analysis to really see the projection and the possibilities. Right, let's go. 1 hourly time frame. We're gonna stick here with you know, we are downtrending. You know, there's no big major reason to believe that we are going to be extremely bullish just yet for a reversal. You know, the world is not looking that great with the tariff war, right? And the market's dumping so aggressively. The S&P 500 is just gone down the toilet, right? NASDAQ, Dow Jones, general stock market, it's really had an aggressive move down. So unless we do get Uncle Jerome Powell to start cutting rates very aggressively and get that money printer on throughout the next coming weeks, this is likely just going to continue going down with the tariff war, right? We're going to see. I think he is going to maintain the interest rates. We're not going to see any emergency money printing going on, guys. It doesn't seem like there's no emergency for the Federal Reserve, right? It's like, hey, hold on tight. You know, this is what we got at the moment, so we're just going to have to hold on. So it's not looking like there's going to be an emergency money printing and interest rate cut by tomorrow, which is obviously very disturbing for the markets, right? So possibly downside is what's going to happen, guys, right? So we need to get into some shorts, guys. We need to get into some nice short positions, but we need to know exactly where we want to short, right? Because shorting down here for a swing trade, well, yeah, you know, it's not that great. Short little scalp positions, okay, are the most epic ones. Day trades like the one here provided from Aiden in the Legends Trading community, right? Boom. You know, this is a perfect level for a short position, right? We're looking for a nice little move of $1,000 to $2,000. Yeah, we get into these kind of day trades, right? Swing trade short down here, well, eventually not the greatest idea, because, you know, this could be bubbling up for some kind of relief rally, right? But we want a day trade. That's what we want to do. Let's go right away through the comment section. Okay, just to say a quick hello to the people. I mean, I'm reading comments and I want to go through your questions as well. Somebody was saying that, you know, the $70,000 range, right, was a strong level of support. The $62,000, and I had to show you that the previous all-time high was, you know, strong support. It was very strong resistance in 2024, right? So it should should hold on, right? 69, 70K region should maintain its ground. What do you think about buying bonds? Well, yeah, bonds are going through the roof, and it does look like it's going to continue this uptrend. Wait for the next bull market in 2028, says Rainer. Yeah, absolutely. I do think so. Let's short like a boss. Yes, let's short like a boss. We need to have a plan, okay? We can't just randomly short down here at these levels. We have been dropping aggressively, so we need to be careful with the relief rallies, right? The relief rallies are going to be good, so we're going to spot those levels of resistance, okay? $83,000 being one of them. it doesn't look like we're going to get up there, right? It just doesn't. The market just looks like it just wants to move to lower levels, right? So we're going to be discussing here several scenarios here, several scenarios. Let's go right away here through the price of Bitcoin. I'll go through the comment section later on, guys. Okay, you need to bear with me here because we're going to zoom in very quickly to the lower time frames. That's what we're interested. But most of the scenarios are leaning bearish, but they also lean on the possibility of some kind of relief, right? Some kind of relief after testing the lows of this week, right? Finding support at certain levels, you know, it's very, very possible, okay? So anybody that is shorting the market throughout the last couple of days, even today, you know, needs to be aggressive taking profit, right? Especially if the lows are claimed. It's a zone where you just want to take profit, because I would not expect the market to collapse down to 60K, right? You know, you are going to start finding some support, be it at 72, right? Or 70K. Maybe it might double bottom from the $74,000 low that we did form on Monday, right? So it's a take profit zone. You know, we are going to get these relief pumps every time, right? This is a zone where there's a lot of buy orders and a lot of people interested in longing and a lot of people interested in taking the profits. So for instance, you do get that relief, right? It's just an instant reaction, okay, on the market. This is a zone that you usually get these relief pumps. Whether you continue down later on, it's just as the market is moving down like this, it's downtrending, but the movements are not getting too aggressive. So it's a very, very, unless we get a capitulation, right? Some very, very bad news worldwide, which that, you know, could happen. No, we do know that it can happen, but it's a zone to take profit. There's no swing short position here to be taken, in my opinion, based on stop loss, right? Do you want to get into, you know, stop loss here? I'll be adding to a short position, right? You know, where is your take profit zone? You know that 70K area is strong support. So it's just not a good level to get into swing shorts, okay? Day trading shorts, absolutely. There was a good day trade short today. Looking for a small movement, right? Just a nice 4-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 risk to reward based on the lower highs of today. Really, really nice, right? But for swing shorts, yeah, not the best area at the moment for looking for swing shorts. You know, very much interested in more in swing long positions, but I still prefer getting into day trade longs, right? We get the move of $1,000, $2,000 or $3,000. That's it. I'm in, I'm out, level to level, intraday levels of resistance and support. So what are the different scenarios that we do have here? For the moment, it is looking quite bearish. I have to say, for the moment, it is looking quite bearish. We do have the three-wave move. Let's go through the higher time frame, okay, and talk about some different possibilities here. Some different possibilities. I do have one here that's very interesting, which is this one, right? This would actually be bullish. This would actually be bullish, right? Where you have your A wave right over here in an expanding move. I mean, expanding moves are rare, and if you have other scenarios, you need to give them more advantage just because, and there is other scenarios here instead of an expanding move on your A wave. So this one, for the moment, has a little bit of a low probability, but it's something to take into consideration where all of this is one wave. You have the 5-wave move here and an expanding move, sideways momentum in another wave, and then this quick leg down to the downside, which is starting, you know, literally your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a contracting move. It is possible, right? This would mean that the bottom could be very close. Of course, you know, the fifth waves are very, very hard to detect, you know, which one is actually going to be the low. But regardless, you know, it is a possibility that you're just finishing this fifth wave and a larger relief rally is going to happen in the next coming weeks, okay? Very speculative. We need to talk about the lower time frames and analyze the situation. But it's a possible scenario. Counting all of this as an ABC is without a doubt a possibility, right? Let's leave it that way. I don't want to, this sounds really bad, right? How can you be bullish? Look at the markets, look at the tariff war, how can you be even thinking about a reversal? It's absolutely insane. Bitcoin's going to go to 10K. What do you mean about an ABC here? And we're going to go into a reversal. It's just a possible scenario based on the counts. The market is looking very weak, and it doesn't look like it wants to bounce anytime soon. And on the lower time frames, it is highly likely that the $74,500 from Monday is going to be taken. We're only $1,400 away from hitting that low, but it's highly likely based on the local price action. This bounce is incredibly corrective. So as you do bounce in a corrective move, you expect the lows to be claimed. This bounce was corrective. It was not very impulsive, right? Then this would have been looking epic, right? Hey, market bounced in a nice 5-wave move. So the correction could be looking very interesting here, but we didn't get any of that. So we bounced in a correction. So automatically you just say the lows are going to be taken. The lows are highly likely going to be taken, right? In the next coming days, whether you form a larger range or not. So going through the I want to go through a few higher time frame scenarios as well. I mean, these are actually bullish for the short term in the coming weeks, whether you do have a finished contracting move here as well. It is possible. I don't like it because it's not too symmetrical. Your wave one is extremely long in time, which is rare. You want to see a little bit of symmetry here on the timing when you form these kind of patterns. The one that looks a little bit better is this one right over here, right? Where in between the waves, except for your wave two, you do have, it's a little bit more symmetrical. Your wave one with the timing of your wave three, hopefully you do find a bottom in this region. You start bouncing a little bit here to the $83,000. I mean, this would be the perfect scenario, right, to get this kind of contracting move in the next coming weeks. So the bounce would be epic, right? The bounce would be epic. If we were to form a double bottom here, right, we form a double bottom and we move up like this, or even with this higher low, and this would still be extremely corrective, guys, because it is very rare for a wave two to bottom out here so close from this low, right? Hitting the 0.88 Fibonacci. This low is just a matter of time. 74,500. It's just a matter of time that it's going to be taken, right? With a bounce or without a bounce. It's just, we're likely going to test those lows at some point, right? So there's no major reason to become bullish. And shorts become very attractive. We'll go through the lower time frames later on, guys, because there will be some scalping opportunities that we can identify on certain movements in the next coming hours, right? This is just a little bit of a higher time frame overview on how the price action is moving. Then we'll go into the meat and potatoes, right? Then we're going to go into, hey, I want to get into trade today, tonight, right? Maybe tomorrow morning. I want to be ready for a high probability trade. We're going to get to that in the next coming minutes, legends, right? We'll get to that point in the next coming minutes once we finish with the higher time frame, right? Different scenarios. So this is one that is looking interesting, right? You have the 3-wave move to the downside from all-time high, right? It's very 3-wavy. You got massive overlap here. So this is not an impulse. You don't see this wave 4, topping out at the 382 Fibonacci and then getting another leg down. This would look awful, guys. This would look very bad. This is a proper impulse. The fact that we pumped up like this to overlap, right, and even get above this golden pocket, yeah, this is not, this is why the market is doing this. This is no longer a strong impulse, and eventually the market is kind of forming the bottom formation, guys. It's kind of wanting to bottom out, because of the movement. This entire move still looks, it doesn't look strong. So you are going to get some kind of relief rally. And in my opinion, we are going to hold the low 70K region, and it is going to manage to get some kind of relief rally. This might be extremely bearish though later on, right? It might pump to 95, maybe 100K. But it probably will be just an exit liquidity strategy, right? Get everybody bullish again, get some bullish news, and then get into the bear market, right? And we'll be breaking all of the good levels, right? We'll be breaking bullish market structure. We'll be breaking the 200 MA and the 150 MA. And we'll be getting all of these moving averages are broken out and the bearish market structure, right? This is it, guys. It's looking pretty epic. We want to be a little bit cautious, right? You know, anything could get that massive relief pump, but we'll be analyzing very carefully the structure. I mean, if we were to bottom out from here and start breaking above $83,000, $85,000 very aggressively, then I would have to come to the conclusion, yeah, we may be looking at this scenario, right? Not the most beautiful one, but you have 3 peaks. What does it mean when you have 3 peaks? When you have 3 peaks, it means that you have 5 waves. You have 5 waves, and eventually this is a contracting move. So regardless, it is bearish. You would be looking for a kind of a zigzag move up here to the upside, you know, to start hitting 50% or golden pocket, right? And maybe getting some resistance at the point of control of this entire range, for example, right? This range that we had throughout, you know, November to February. You know, high volume node, this would be like the perfect zone for the price to really, you know, this is a bull trap. And you'll be breaking market structure. You'll be breaking all of the EMAs, right? The ribbons and all of that, right? But it could be an exit liquidity strategy, right? And that just forms a larger ABC and we go into an epic bear market for the next coming months, right? So yeah, I mean, this is just higher time frame stuff, guys. You know, we eventually focus on the lower time frames because there's many scenarios on the bearish case, right? We got this other scenario right here, which is literally taking us to much lower levels, right? Actually breaking down below $70,000 just because of the extension of this being a zigzag W, possibly formed a really nice triangle structure here. And now we just are inside of the Y, right? And it's a double zigzag. So, you know, you would be expecting some kind of zigzag like this, right? Very, very strong, powerful move down, you know, and this is going to break below 70K and even get to 60K, right? We could be in that formation, right? We could be in that formation and it's a valid count, right? You got your first wave down zigzag, you got your sideways triangle structure, and we only just broke the triangle right now. So what is curious about 2 scenarios here is regardless if this one's going to play out, which is the most bearish one, okay, it would be nice to get actually a pump to around about $83,000, right? That would be pretty epic. You know, test the scene of the crime of these higher lows, get a kind of a relief pump to $83,000. I think it would be an epic short position, guys. If we were to get a relief pump to those levels, which is not far away, guys. It's about $6,000 away, $6,000, $7,000, right? Bitcoin moves, you know, has major big swings of $5,000, $6,000 in hours. So, you know, you never know. You just need to be ready just in case we get a kind of a short squeeze, right? We detected this fake out as well. We did a live stream and saying, you know, this is the last pump, guys. The last pump before a major move down, back down to the lows, literally, right? It was only just to look at the lows, not this breakdown, but it was a fake pump, fake breakout. Very, very nice. Very, very nice to see this as we were talking about this in the live stream. You know, the last pump, I was expecting the 7.8 to get rejected, but we actually hit the 0.88 and then got the movement down. So anyway, going back to this, regardless of a pump now, looking at this scenario, which is taking you to much lower levels in the next coming weeks, or looking at this other scenario, it kind of doesn't matter, because if we were to be forming this contracting move, which is, it is, you know, very contracting, we are getting squeezed. So a relief rally, it would make sense for the relief rally to just continue this downtrend, right? If we pumped up to $83,000 region in the next coming days, you know, that's the downtrend resistance, right? We have been getting resistance from this downtrend. When we get a trend line from the highs, all-time highs, to the next lower highs, to the next lower highs, right? We can see how, you know, perfect resistance with that fake out, right? Beautiful fake out right over here. No reversal. right? This level of resistance, well, you would expect if the price were to pump up here to not manage to break out, right? Could it be that it breaks out? Maybe yes. But overall, what you're looking at is the big resistance. So $83,000 is going to be that zone for possible swing shorts, right? You do have the golden pocket from the highs of the latest dump, right? Last Wednesday's highs, you could arguably discuss the fake out high to the lows. Yeah, golden pocket is sitting where we have that extremely high volume node, right? Big high volume node right over here. So this is going to be a tough nut to crack, guys. And eventually, as you're downtrending, you know, this could be the moment that it actually gets that rejection. And what is interesting about this level is it is, you know, a possible fourth wave in this contracting diagonal, right? You could be actually seeing this kind of movement, which is very interesting. So nice level, $83,000. If we were to get some kind of a relief rally, testing the lows or not, guys, it doesn't matter. This third wave could still be on the formation, right? We might even test $73,000, 72. And then we get the relief big pump. You know, this might take many days eventually to develop, but it will be, as you know, something to be paying attention to, right? This is the resistance. If we start breaking above $83,000 very successfully, then yeah, we could obviously speculate that a larger reversal, a larger relief rally on the higher time frames is possible. We would want to break at least the value area low of this trading zone, right? I mean, you would at least want to break above the last official lower high, right, to be kind of bullish, right? Eventually, you would expect some kind of pullback, but if it were to go to $90,000, guys, I know this seems like impossible right now, and you move very impulsively in a five-wave structure, and you actually break the official last lower high, which is this zone at $89,000. If you manage to get a high right there, the correction, the movement down will be looking very attractive to get into a long position here, right? Regardless if this is going to be A, B, C, or it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 markets heading up to all-time high, right? We don't know, but what we do know is that this would be a clear sign of break of structure, right? You're breaking on the first wave, right? If that were to happen, you realize that the last lower high has been broken. So you're officially forming a higher high on the higher time frame, right? Since the all-time high that we formed in January. You know that you've broken the structure here, and the correction will be looking very attractive to, you know, literally look for a long position to break the highs. So we're gonna have to remain patient. This is the 4-hourly time frame. So for the moment, all of this is just having hope, right? You're kind of just having hope on this for to happen. But as mentioned, this still looks very corrective or very contracting diagonal. You know, there's nothing impulsive out of this move. And that means that some kind of large relief rally is going to happen, which, you know, if it's going to be incredibly bullish or not, well, we're just going to have to see how the market moves up here to really maintain the bullishness. You know, we might really detect a fantastic 3-wave structure here, and you know, it might be the epic short to get into. We're just gonna have, it might just continue up. We don't know. So but a relief larger rally at some point is extremely likely, just because this market from the rejection hasn't moved down impulsively. All right. And the only bearish case scenarios that you have is literally coming to the end stage here, right? Maybe getting down to 70K or so, right? Maybe it might dip down to 68K. You know, with these bearish impulsive moves, if we were to drop to lower levels, it would even be more bullish, because then you are confirming that you're in a larger correction, WXY. You got your zigzag here, triangle, and you want an either aggressive zigzag move down to get below $70,000 with impulse, right? correction and another big move down. This would actually be more bullish to drop faster in the coming weeks for an epic reversal back up to all-time highs. So if we start breaking up now, it's actually more bearish in my opinion. In my opinion, it will be, I would be more seeing this as a relief rally, fake pump kind of scenario, and eventually expecting the rollover back down. But if we go to lower levels, for me, it would be more bullish in the higher time frame, just because this will be confirmed as a big correction, not impulsive. It's going to be impulsive on the lower time frames, but on the higher time frame, it's going to be corrective. It's going to be still corrective. So yeah, preferably we do go lower. And if we do break out in the next coming days, right, give or take 1 or 2 weeks, we got these two scenarios, which eventually are bearish, right? Contracting move to the downside. And, I would be very skeptical on that relief pump if we do get one, right? So, this is just a little bit of higher time frame, guys. What's going on here with this downtrend? The main idea here is that a reversal looks very, very good, okay? A reversal does look good. We got extreme fear at maximum levels, okay? And the probabilities at the moment to get we could go down below $70,000. I'm not denying that, but it's going to be looking very good for the reversal. I don't think we're going to go to $50,000 just because we don't have the structure to break down, right? We've moved down very aggressively, but it's not impulsive. And as we're not moving down impulsively, the chances of forming a relief rally, a large relief rally, is very high. It is very high, guys. So just to take it into consideration, right? Especially when you're dancing around with these lows, right? If you're that bearish, why don't the heck you break down already, right? Why didn't Bitcoin break down with one of the largest capitulations that we've seen on the stock market for years, guys? This capitulation was epic, right? In just a matter of 1 week here, S&P 500, how much did it drop in percentage? A 10% drop on the S&P 500 in about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks here, right? Yeah, 17%. This is massive for the S&P. I think NASDAQ did drop over 20% in less than 10 days or so, right? Around about a week or so. Big drops. Why didn't Bitcoin mirror such a capitulation? When you take a look at the scale of this from the stock market into Bitcoin, it should be a 30% drop, right? Well, yeah, Bitcoin did hold quite nicely. It was a 15% drop. It was actually less percentage on Bitcoin than the stock market S&P 500, which is extremely rare, with such a severe drop of 17% in less than 2 weeks. You would expect Bitcoin to be double than that, right? With that kind of crash. So it did hold pretty okay, right? Why didn't you capitulate down from the lows, right? What's going on? There's some information here that we do have saying, why didn't the Bitcoin price actually drop down $15,000, right? Or 20,000? And, why is it dancing around? We haven't even tested the highs of the range from 2024. This is massive resistance support flip on the daily, on the weekly. All of this is massive resistance support flip, higher time frame resistance support flip. With that conclusion, a relief here is highly likely. A big relief is highly likely. Whether it's going to be corrective or not and then move down, or impulsive, well, we're going to have to figure that out with the lower time frame technical analysis once that happens, right? So yeah, just a little bit of a heads up here, guys, for all of those people that do have Bitcoin in their portfolio. You're going to have a chance, if you are scared of the future of the markets and everything, you're probably going to have a good exit if you want to exit, right? I might sell some if we do get that relief rally to 95 or 100K. I might sell a couple of Bitcoin actually, because yeah, markets are, I don't know what's going to happen, guys. Nobody knows. We could be in a 100-year cycle. This is very curious to see, right? Who knows about the 100-year cycle? We do know in 1929, crack of 29, as they say, when we take a look at the markets, okay, on a higher time frame, legends, it's just, yeah, this is absolutely insane, right? We've been in a huge, massive, since the Industrial Revolution, right, a massive growth right here on everything, right? It's pretty scary how in a few decades we've expanded so much. You know, looking at the stock market, does look like a full recipe to, you know, crumble back down. Nothing goes up forever. I don't like charts like this. I don't like charts like this. The charts like this are bad. You know, these charts need to come back down. A growth like this is not healthy. Right, and it's a higher time frame growth, of course, but you know, I do see some OG analysts that are saying, you know, we could be in that 100-year cycle kind of theory, right? We're just under 100 years, just 95 years, right? 96 years actually. And we did see the stock market get exponential growth throughout, you know, the late 1800s, early 1900s, right? And then eventually this did collapse down very fast in just a few years. So I don't want to speculate on this, but you know, who knows? You know, who knows? Maybe it is the time, guys. We're going to live this, and it's just very interesting. So it's, you know, you might think diversifying is going to be a good idea, but when you have such a depression, everything is likely going to go down. You know, it's just, will gold maintain? Gold might be good. Will Bitcoin maintain? Is Bitcoin going to be the thing that holds? You know, even real estate might drop. You know, it's a kind of an everything collapse, right? So whatever you own is going to get devaluated anyway, right? So it's kind of nothing is safe. What is safe is to plant your tomatoes, right, and have a few chickens so you can get a few eggs every day to eat, right? That's important. that's the asset that you need, right, with such a bubble. But anyway, just a little bit of a higher time frame perspective, guys, on what's going on, right? Eventually, I would expect that this collapse is going to be, you know, it's going to hold. At some point, it needs to hold. And at some point, there will be that emergency interest rate cut and money printing activity. There'll be more inflation, but it is what it is, right? Eventually, there will be using the tools to recover the markets and the economy and everything, right? At some point, I believe so, right? Unless we do get the proper reset and, you know, everybody has a bad time for a few years. Till we actually, you know, fix all of this mess that we created in the last few decades. Anyway, we have no fear. Yeah, it's, you know, it doesn't matter, guys. We are live, right? We are live. What is the most important? You know, breathing, being alive. That's the most important thing, right? So anyway, let's go through. Yeah, we need to talk about Bitcoin. My goodness, doing a little bit of too much talk here and not focusing on the analysis, guys. I'm sorry, but I, you know, needed to give a little bit of a overview of what's happening, right, on the higher time frames, right? We're looking at the last century. Not looking, you know, it does look scary, of course, but you hear that, right? What do you need to do? You need to buy the fear. Extreme fear greed index, right? Not in crypto. This is like the general markets, is at 3 out of 100. We are at extreme fear. Like, this is like proper fear in the general markets. So yeah, do you feel like buying the fear right now, or are you like it's gonna go worse? Let me know, guys. As they say, maybe Warren Buffett, that has over 300 billion in cash, he's smart. He's smart. Already a few months ago, he said, "I'm cashing out." Right? He did say that a few months ago. I'm sitting in the largest amount of cash that I have, right? That I've ever had, over $330 billion in cash. Warren Buffett. This was back in September or so, right? So yeah, he literally sold close to the top, you would say, right, on many different assets. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he's starting to buy stuff. Maybe not. Would be curious what he says. Anyway, let's go through comment section. Then we'll dive in, guys, on the lower time frame. Okay, a little bit of too much chit chat here, which is always good. It's always good, right? BTC down, tariffs up. Yes, you got that damn right, my man, Krypton boy. Very much Again, beer, of course. Don't sell. Yeah, I'm holding my Bitcoin. Holding the Bitcoin. We don't sell while we go down. Actually been buying Ethereum. It's actually last Monday. Every Monday, guys, I do have the wallet. Average price was $1,500. Like I said, we're going to buy Ethereum every Monday. One Ethereum every Monday, as long as the price is below $2,000. So yeah, we'll be buying cheap Ethereum down to 0 if needed, right? Down to 0 if it is the case. But we're going to DCA, guys. It is time to DCA this fear. We love DCAing down. So I might buy, you know, it might be at $1,000 next week. It might be at 900, right? Next month. It's DCAing time. As long as we below $2,000, we are DCAing all the way down to 0 if needed, right? And then eventually we'll be in profits at some point, maybe in 10 years. Who knows? But every Monday, one Ethereum. That's what we agreed on the channel. Just a DCA slow strategy. I can't take more, says Michael. It's likely that Ethereum drops further from here. Please look at it for us. In my opinion, so down bad. I'm so down bad. Lost like 40% in a week. Yes, I know. Your wisdom is appreciated, Andy. You're very much welcome, my man. I know Ethereum is down big time, and Ethereum could be, you know, very much in. This doesn't look great. We've broken the uptrend momentum. I did see 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽𝗫 pointing out in the Legends Trading community that this could actually be some kind of a large macro corrective structure that is on the formation in a WXY. You know, it did point this out last week, that it could just be a big, massive macro correction. And I'm buying it. I'm buying this. I'm buying it. I like it. I do like it very much. The fact that, yeah, I mean, I do have a screenshot here from the Legends Trading community at some point, but literally you do have a flat structure here on the formation, you know, coming down to the 1.618 extension, which is your flat, expanding flat target. Like worst case scenario is coming down below $1,000, right? Very, very possible that you actually come down to the bear market lows. Many cryptos have come down to the bear market lows of 2022, right? So why not Ethereum? Yeah, maybe it will go below $1,000. But I would want to believe, also based on the analysis, and that we are moving to a decentralized world, guys, in the future. I know it doesn't look great now, but Ethereum is the proven decentralized network that can be built on, right? Gaming, smart contracts, DeFi, whatever, you name it. It's the proven decentralized one. Binance Smart Chain, absolutely not. It's highly centralized. Solana, I wouldn't trust Solana very much. They have had some problems. Not highly decentralized, highly centralized. So yeah, Ethereum is the one, right? And it's scaling. So yeah, it's time to DCA. I would want to see this as a large correction that is happening on the macro, guys, and it is really time to DCA. And it's a chill DCA for me, right? For me, it's going to be live on the channel every Monday, and we'll be adding that Ethereum. For the moment, I do have my Ethereum in my portfolio, but this is only for the channel, just so you can see how profitable this kind of way of investing in the long term is, right? And Ethereum, without a doubt, I do see it hitting all-time high at some point in 1 year or in 3 years. It doesn't matter. We have time. We have time. And, you know, this could reverse in very short period of time. So overall, the strategy is DCA every Monday. In my case, it's going to be one Ethereum. You can choose whatever you want. If you want to follow this DCA strategy, it's going to be a long-term thing, guys, right? Will it be $10 every Monday or $50 or $1,000, whatever? I'm going to do one Ethereum, right? So yeah, just, you know, I would want to see this as a very large corrective structure, and eventually look for that recovery at some point in the next coming years, right? Maybe months, who knows? It doesn't matter. It's at good levels. We want to buy cheap, guys. You know, I don't want to buy this. I want to buy this. I want to buy this. This is where you will make money in the future buying all of this, right? And I know I might buy at 1,500 and then I might buy at 1,000. So it's like, why didn't you wait? Well, I don't know if it's going to reverse from this point, right? It could. We never know on the higher time frame how it's going to react. So anyway, it's time for some Bitcoin right now. It is time for some Bitcoin. That's enough. That's enough. Getting a little bit of a bounce here. So we need to talk about the different possibilities that could form on Bitcoin. Okay, we could be talking about a few scenarios that could be happening on the price of Bitcoin. Just a quick reminder for everybody out there, if you are interested in trading, Weeks is an awesome platform. You do get a great bonus down below, 50% deposit bonus, guys. I'll explain this, how it works. It's a $1,000 max bonus, okay? So if you deposit $2,000, the only thing that you need to do is transfer that $2,000 from your spot account to your futures account. And in 48 to 72 hours, you are getting that 50% deposit bonus, right? $1,000 maximum. And that increases your capital, meaning that you can get into bigger trades. You'll also get 25% fee reduction as you sign up with the second link down below, guys. So using that second link down below will instantly give you 25% fee reduction. All right, take advantage. You can also sign up just with an email and a password, nothing else. Start trading Bitcoin and other cryptos. Highly liquid, okay? It is highly liquid and it's backed up from big exchanges. So check out Weeks, guys. You get all those perks with the second link down below in the description, guys. Let's go right away through some scenarios here on the price of Bitcoin. Right, what scenarios could happen? Woo. Yeah, let's just, no levels, guys, on the chart, okay? No levels. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to do a little bit of Picasso drawing here with my pencil, right? Because we don't need anything else, right? I can see it already, what we have, right? We're going to use a bit of Fibonacci. We're going to put some levels later on. But I can see it already, right? I can already see it, that the low that was formed after this aggressive move down, my goodness, this was aggressive. I don't want to bet against this movement down, guys. I have to say, the probabilities in rolling down, in claiming this low, regardless if this range continues, right? Best case scenario for the bulls in the short term is getting above $81,000. I mean, this would still be an epic area to really look for short positions. People are going to be like, whoa, holy moly, what's going on, right? Bitcoin's looking pretty damn bullish. But it's very likely going to be a trap, right? It's very likely going to be that rollover back down. I don't think it's going to get up there, guys, but who knows? There is a reason to believe it can get up there. There is a reason it can get up there, but I don't think it will. Main reason why is because how the price moved up here, right? 5-minute chart. We can actually go to the 15-minute and zoom in a little bit, right? Main reason why, highly unlikely that we do get up to $83,000 in the next coming days, I have to say. I mean, it is possible, but it's unlikely. And there's a few reasons why. First of all, the low created last Monday, and how the market moved up. It moved in a 3-wave move. You can see it right there. It moved in a 3-wave move to the upside, right? And if you want to start believing that the price is going to move up very aggressively, you want to see a nice impulsive move up in a 5-wave structure. You want to see a big, strong 5-wave move up. Preferably no overlap from your wave 4 and your wave 1. This is a very messy pump, messy 3-wave structure where the correction down overlaps your highs right over here. So yeah, for this to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it just didn't work. You actually formed a lower high right there, so, and then rolled down. So yeah, it's not good. The probabilities right now, in claiming the low is extremely high. It's extremely high at some point after this range that you are going to break down. So we're gonna have to discuss some intraday setups. Okay, we'll discuss some intraday setups here. I mean, the most epic one was today, I have to say. The short position here was crystal clear. It was such a clear setup to jump into that short. I mean, from here, we right about hitting the golden pocket almost hitting golden pocket. But yeah, if you're going to be bearish from this move here, if you are going to be bearish, let's talk about the bearish case scenario, right? You formed a three-wave structure here in an ABC, right? It's a three-waver. This is not impulsive. It looks like a bunch of crap. We're rolling down, guys. We're bear market, downtrend. This is not a good sign of strength at all. It doesn't look good, and 74,000 is likely going to be claimed at some point, right, in the next coming days. With relief pumps or not, you know, the idea was ranging, guys. This was explained on yesterday's video that a range here and a bounce here, you know, was very likely. Didn't get too much love on yesterday's video, but yeah, it was explained on yesterday's video that we're likely going to range. Range now is the option. Almost took the low today, right? But we did not, right? And we're getting a bit of a bounce and a range. We'll be looking at the different possibilities now. Bearish scenario. The bearish scenario from here, as this movement formed a lower high, right? You got this high right over here, and you got this lower high. So we need to start thinking of impulsive downtrend, right? We need to start thinking of impulsive downtrend. What wave could we be in here for this to continue to the downside? If we do structure this as your wave one from this high to this low, I don't like it too much, right? We'll get to this later on, but first of all, let's just do this. The fact that we came up to the 0.88 Fibonacci is rare for a wave two. You know, this is why also yesterday we talked about the range and a possible, you know, WXY kind of formation. And a WXY formation is still on the cards to then, you know, whatever happens here, we can structure we could map some different scenarios that we could be looking at here. Important levels, either as support or resistance. We'll map in that scenario right now, guys. Bear with me, because we need to build up this, guys, right? Yeah, the fact that we hit the 0.88 Fibonacci from this latest move down after the three-wave structure, right? We've got a three-wave move up here in an ABC. 0.88 Fibonacci is rare for a wave two, okay? It is rare for an impulsive move down. However, you could really count this as a pretty strong impulsive move down. Looks pretty promising, I would have to say, right? Could I count this next move down, because we got a first leg down here, 1 and 2, right? You do have, from that lower high after the three-wave structure, you do have a 1 and a 2. You do have a lower high. So yeah, we need to count it as a wave 1 and a wave 2 as we're still downtrending. And we got a bit of a aggressive move down here yesterday. If we do take a look at the next wave, well, this is not a third wave, right? This is not a third wave. Third wave should have, you know, broken down already. So you got a 1-2. You got a second 1-2. As you do have that second 1-2, then you move down pretty aggressively, right? You did have a little bit of a stop. The price did stop in this region yesterday at low 76K zone. You know, you can arguably discuss that this could have been your third wave bottom right over here. You can arguably discuss that this could have been your third wave bottom. So yeah, this little bounce should have to be your fourth wave, even though it's relatively quick. Let's just change this here color, guys, and put it here at a sub-millennial option. Yeah, let's just keep it like that. This possibly was your third wave down, right? This is your most aggressive move down, your most aggressive. You do have a kind of a 5-wave move right over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be an entire third wave down. Very possible. Very, very possible. Especially forming this lower high on Monday. you know, giving you your 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, giving you your third wave. When we do take a look at the potential of the fourth wave here, yeah, maybe this was it. Maybe this was it. We're going to get that leg down here now to sweep up the lows and get the fifth wave. It is a possibility. You know, I have been speculating on this short today with Aiden in the Legends trading community. I mean, he is the one that posted that instant short position at the 1.618 extension. And this does look very good when you get Fibonacci from your wave 2 to your wave 3. I mean, yeah, you know the deal, right? When you're looking at Elliott wave theory, your wave 4 wants to top out either at the 382 or the 50% zone, preferably not getting to the golden pocket. And in this case, golden pocket is where you have, you know, your wave 1. I mean, in this case, sorry, my bad. You know, wave 1's all the way down here. You know, this is a problem. You know, you're already overlapping this scenario. I'm looking at wave 1 here, guys. We got it all the way down here. So yeah, this is not looking too great, you know, for an impulsive move down. Let's leave it that way. The moment you overlap with your wave 4, your wave 1, you need to start thinking of contracting moves or expanding, contracting move being more common. And if we do, you know, look at the possibility here for the contracting move, you know, it is there. It is there. Not the most beautiful one, right? It looks like a big fat mess, but it's a valid count. The fact that from this bounce, you have formed lower highs and you had a very aggressive move down here, you know, you need to start thinking of the possible impulsive moves to the downside, right? Whether it's going to be contracting, if there's overlapping from your wave 1 and wave 4, then that's it. This is no longer an impulse. The aggressive move down is not going to happen. You're going to start chopping. You're going to probably form another low, and then you're going to get an epic relief rally. You know there's exhaustion on this movement based on the impulse getting these epic relief rallies, right? In a strong capitulation, you want small relief rallies. Continue down aggressively. The moment you start chopping around and overlapping, you know, on the impulsive move down, you know that this is coming to an end. So the breakdown here is going to be very interesting. You know, there is a possibility of this breakdown, you know, forming a kind of a double bottom scenario. Test $74,000, get to 73 potentially, and overall look for a larger relief rally. I mean, this is one scenario, right? We have other scenarios that could be on the formation of a WXY, and I will explain now here in detail. But to look at the bearish count, we need to go from the start of the range here, right? The last low that we do have, which was from previous Monday. How did the market move to the upside? We moved in a 3-wave structure. Okay. How did the next move develop? Well, we formed a lower high. I mean, this is a contracting move right over here that did have 5 waves on the micro. I mean, you can actually zoom in here, guys, and you will see 5 waves down, you know, on the lower time frame. I mean, we can do that now just because of the same, just for the sake of it, right? Because, you know, a lot of people will say, yeah, this contracting move and all this BS, right? No, it's, you know, this was a pretty solid 5-wave move down, right? When you take a look at the lower time frames, there's 5 waves here in this contracting move. So yeah, you can count this as a wave 1 and this as a wave 2. You know, you kind of have a double zigzag right over here in this correction. So the fact that you've overlapped after, you know, this is your next lower high, wave 2. So then you have 1, 2, 3. You would say that this is 4 just because it took quite a bit of time. And then your last wave 5 here. And then your 3-wave bounce, which was the epic short that Aiden provided today in the Legend Trading community. I mean, it's an epic short, guys. It's only a move down of 1,500, but it's enough for me. You know, if I can make, you know, I made 600 $600 from this day trade short. You know, this for me is, this is where I can, you know, make the money. And he posted this and I was like, you know, this, I like this short position. And I aped in. Aiden does provide some epic setups here in the Legends trading community with extreme good risk management. When you take a look at extreme good risk management, I mean, you can get stopped out 2-3 times, and then the next trade that comes to profit, well, you're paying off your stop loss, right? You know, this is the kind of risk management that we're looking at, and it exactly hit the 1.618 and it rejected. Already, you know, confirming that entry here with, you know, look at stop loss. You can't even see the stop loss. Stop loss is almost invisible. Anyway, shout out to Aiden, by the way, from the Legends trading community on Discord, which if you want to join, guys, you got the 4th link down below. Okay, you have the modules, how to learn how to trade, all the different tools and risk management that we use, and you also have, you know, the setups. You also get some screenshots, some video live streams, okay, private live streams also from 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽𝗫 mainly, another coach, right? Let's go right away through the difference. Let's see how many likes. We are lagging. That chart looks like a bear market. Andy is lagging. Let me double check here, guys. It seems like we are having a little bit of lag. Let's go. The chart looks like a bear market. Yes, it does, my man. We are downtrending, okay? Nobody's talking about a big epic reversal. It is. I am talking about a big epic reversal. Are we lagging still, guys? Let me know if we are lagging. You're good now. We are good. Yeah, I've just refreshed this. It's all good now. Let's get that like button destroyed, guys, because there's some other scenarios. I know all of this sounds a little bit Chinese and it doesn't look too great, guys. But if this were to be the case, then what we are looking at here is the breakdown not breaking down aggressively from the lows, guys. We are potentially looking for this 5th wave to bottom out as soon as we break the lows. I'm not expecting a capitulation down to 69K, right? This is likely going to maintain its ground, you know, below $74,000. However, we don't have many levels, and you know, I don't think we have many levels down there. Let's double check here. Well, you know, yeah, we this is literally this order block that we do have, right? This consolidation after this big pump. We don't have much levels. We do have a few peak highs here. I mean, this could be interesting. We do have a few highs here. Yeah, let's put a box here just because it's a resistance support flip, right? Let's just put a massive box here. All right, just because we got a couple of highs, and it would just have to be a resistance support flip. Highs from 2024. Let's extend that zone here, because this could literally be the level that we do get the bounce. Okay, if we do come down there. It's literally the highs of 2024, right? Around about 73,500, right? You can see it. We're just getting a box because we haven't got any naked. We did get a reaction from this consolidation before continuing up. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. But there we go. But yeah, we're just getting the highs, right, from 2024 here. The highs of 2024. I'm just checking here that you can see this. Let's go right away and take a look at this box. We like our boxes. Yeah, that box is not too far away here. If we do break down, it's going to be looking very interesting for the price to basically get a bounce here. Okay, so it's not going to be an easy trade, guys. Nobody wants to long a falling knife or the market going down, okay? There's no real big swing failure pattern. I mean, the lows of last Monday could be the kind of swing failure pattern level, but I think the most responsible thing to do here, I mean, there's no quick, guys, jump into long here and try and catch the bottom, right? It's a resistance support flip, right, from the highs of 2024. Without a doubt, it can get that bounce. Let me see if yeah, there we go. Sorry guys, Tradingview is lagging. Do you know Tradingview requires a lot of GPU power and internet, especially when you have levels on the chart? But it's, yeah, literally the highs of 2024 here, round about 73,500, right? We got a few highs right there. This is lagging behind a little bit. Come on, baby. So, yeah, with this scenario, you would, you know, if this is the scenario, guys, because we got another scenario, which is literally forming a WXY, and what could be formed here is another triangle. Okay, we could be forming a triangle here, and I'll explain that scenario right away, right? Because if we're ranging, you know, people are going to ask questions, right? What the heck are we doing here, right? Are we going to pump or are we going to dump? Well, we'll talk about that right now in the next coming minutes. If the price does break down, we got the highs of 2024 sitting at the $73,000 range, right? Give or take 73,800, 500. It's just not an easy long, right? Nobody wants to long when it's going to look like it's going to capitulate. So it is not going to be easy. The most responsible good thing to do here is wait for the reaction bounce and get a nice pump to the upside, and then look for the 3-wave corrective structure, right? Then you do realize from this pivot high, after forming a 3-waver, you are forming lower highs here consistently. So the only bearish way of counting this is the one that you have right over here, where you have your wave 1 in a contracting move, your wave 2 here in a complex correction. I have to say this has to be a it can be an ABC, but overall you formed a lower high regardless. And then you form this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you got your zigzag here in your 4th wave, and there's overlap from your 1 and 2. So the only scenario that you have here to count is a contracting move or an expanding move, right? Contracting move being more common than expanding. And realizing that you got the highs of 2024, which is $73,000 region, you would expect that possibility, right, of finding support as you come down to this zone in the next, you know, give or take 1 to 2 days, right? It might be tonight, it might be tomorrow. If you do come down there, you would expect some kind of support. The best, the best here, instead of trying to catch the long, just in case you get an expanding move, you never know. You know, this might be an expanding wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, and 5 does go to 70K, and then you get the bounce. You never know. So what would be the most responsible thing to do to get into a high probability trade setup is eventually, as you get that movement to the downside, if it were to happen, right, is look for the bounce at some point. And what you want to see in this bounce is literally that 5-wave move up, right? You want to see a really strong rebound here. And eventually you are going to get that correction at some point after the bounce, right? Whether that bounce is, there will be a corrective move. This will be the area that you'll be interested in taking that long position. You would be looking at this as a finished 5-wave move down, and eventually you want to see a significant bounce to the upside, but you need your first leg up here. So, you know, this is going to be like the scenario that they want to look for. What are the other scenarios? I mean, let's just put this in a folder right there, because, I mean, I've just been mapping up this situation based on the local price action. And we're gonna map some other possibilities here. Let's get this out of the way. That could happen in the next coming hours, guys. Bear with me here. I know, I mean, it might sound very boring for a lot of people and a lot of nonsense, but it is a possibility, right? Let's go right away with let's go right away with Yeah, let's go right. We are pumping right now, getting a little bit of a pumpy action. We are getting a little bit of a pumpy action at the moment. So, yeah, let's talk about... There is the possibility of counting all of this as a massive complex WXY. And I know it sounds boring, guys, but it is something that you need to map out here. You got the zigzag move up right over here, right? 3-wave structure. We know that. It's a zigzag right over here. You do have possibly another zigzaggy move, which is basically a flat, because you have hit the minimum target for your flat, which is the 0.9 Fibonacci from the highs to the lows. Bitcoin's pumping nicely, guys. Bitcoin's pumping. Did get into a cheeky long position here. And the main reason why I got into a cheeky double bottom down here, guys, I'll explain right away. There was a short into a long today. Short position from Aiden, and this is just a long position that I spotted here just before the stream. Because, and this drop came on the announcement of the tariffs, but let me just explain that you know, the long position that I got into in here. It's literally just looking at a zigzag. You got a zigzag here. You know, there is the potential eventually of this being an impulse. Well, this is why local double bottoms here was not a bad option. I just want to give you that explanation right now. The main reason of this double bottom is, I'm going to throw it out simply here, because there is a reason behind every single trade, guys. I don't trade randomly on, you know, shorts and longs, right? I need to see a reason why to get in. But, you know, one of the reasons is this could have been a 3-wave structure. And you also have that, you know, check the waves, guys. You know, it's pretty fascinating once you know how to get the counts of the waves, where you realize where the good opportunities lay. With this movement down that we had here from early this morning, you can count a 5-wave move down. You know, it's just you could not make it up, right? There's a 5-wave move down here, right? Forming your A wave. There's a 5-wave move down here. Then eventually you have your corrective move. And then, you know, there was speculation today in the legends that we could form a zigzag here and a movement up, looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was very, very possible. However, we got the tariffs announcement from China, and, you know, we got this major dump. So with that theory, you already come with, okay, if this is your lower high, right, after this zigzag move, how many waves can you count here from this pivot right over here? The waves that you can count from this pivot is a 1, 2, 3, the largest move, 4, and 5. Right? Simple, easy, simple. Possible double bottom to speculate on the end of the 5th wave. Very good risk management. You know, you start being protective right now. The stop loss is ridiculous anyway, but there is a chance of taking out the highs just in case you form this structure that I'm going to talk about right now. But you can realize how there's a 5-wave move here and there's a zigzag here. And then the next movement has 5 waves. That's what you want to see in your C wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you do take a look at the extension from the highs to the lows to these highs right over here, you're coming down to the 1.618 zone, right? Very, you know, pretty explosive C wave. Regardless, it is a nice move. It is a nice speculation double bottom. And the only reason why of this double bottom is the fifth wave, right? The fifth wave is the only reason you would get into this this long position. When you do take a look at this, you eventually can speculate, okay? And sorry guys here, because this is so, it is boring, guys. Unless you enjoy it, you're going to be like, holy moly, right? All of these waves and these things are just driving me nuts here. When you have this zigzag up and you have this movement here that can be an expanding flat. I mean, you did hit the minimum target for your flat. You did come down almost to the 1.618 extension. We're taking a look at this latest move down after the three-wave move down to this lower high, coming down to the 1.618 extension. I mean, this is math, guys. It's like, it's rocket science. Right, where you do have this movement down after this three wave, and then you have this pump to the 0.88 Fibonacci that gives you the projection of a flat, and most commonly an expanding furthest high to be taken, I have to say. But it did hit the minimum target for the flat, right, which is the 0.9 Fibonacci. 0.88, right? You're getting above 0.88. That's already giving you the potential of the flat. When you take a look at the extension of this move down, guys, you know, and this right over here is a three-wave structure. This right over here is a three-wave structure as well, very possible to count. It is a little bit long in timing, I have to say. Your A wave and B wave together. I mean, let me just take a look at the timing 1 second, because if it is 2 times longer, then it does. It's not an invalidation, but it is, if it's double the timing from your A wave and your B wave together, you're almost hitting, yeah, you're just under 2 times longer. Anyway, 1.618 extension was hit, which is common area for a flat, 1.618. That's exactly where we got the bounce early this morning. Pretty epic. 1.618 extension is magic, guys. To analyze the waves from a high and a lower high is absolute magic, right? The main short position today from Aiden was the 1.618 extension from this higher low. This is the 1.618 extension from this wave up and this wave down. It works like magic. When we do take a look at this scenario, and bear with me here, guys, because I'm getting lost with so many waves. Let's just get this out of the way. I've done the micro counts explaining that cheeky long position, which is a local double bottom, guys. All right, very easy to kind of detect. Of course, we are forming a new wave formation right now, so it, you know, we analyze the local price action. But when you take a look at this, what is on the speculation if we were not moving down impulsively? And yesterday was the main thing of the video, guys. We're not going down yet. I didn't get any love on yesterday's video. We're just talking about the probabilities that we're not going to go lower yet, right? We are expecting to go lower, but Bitcoin will form a range for now, and explaining where the price could bounce, which it did go a little bit lower from the level where I wanted it to bounce. Regardless, it's ranging and it didn't take out the low. So, which was the scenario for the moment. Not take out the low just yet and continue ranging, which it is. So when we take a look at this movement now, which is looking very interesting, right? It's getting that squeeze up. It's moving up, right? Like, hey, I want to short, guys. Bear market, you know, aren't we going to test the lows? Well, yeah, we got a few scenarios, and the scenarios that I'm going to talk about are going to be looking interesting. They're going to be looking interesting right now, because what I'm, speculating on here on the formation is a WXY, which was the main the main thing yesterday is a WXY, but it just couldn't spot the possible lows right there. I mean, this was a speculation zone to hold, but it did not. So we just lost a major level that I was looking at yesterday. But then, you know, you have this, and now you're forming your Y wave, right? Wherever this is. And a sideways WXY right now has a higher probability than actually moving up in a double zigzag, just because we've retraced below the 7 Fibonacci from this low to the high. When you retrace too much, what is highly likely is that you form a sideways correction and then you move down. So if you do hold the 50% and the golden pocket, a double zigzag is possible. When you get above the 7 Fibonacci retracement, but you know, this was not the case yesterday. So a sideways range here is what you're looking at, and then claim the low with high probability. So bear with me here, guys. This is Chinese for many. You got the zigzag, you got the possible flat structure here. And now what you could be forming is, you know, the two options that you do have is a possible flat, okay, which could be a very small one. You basically double top from this area. It could be a very, very small flat. Yeah, but you're not coming. Yeah, you should have come down to lower levels here. Yeah. Yeah, this is not the possibility at the moment. So, well, as we formed here a three-wave structure, three-wave here, three-wave here. This could be grinding up in a three-waver. So this, you know, this is probably gonna range here for the next coming hours. But what is very possible that could be formed is a triangle. Okay, it might take a little bit of time. It might be very rangy. If we are going to be forming this WXY in a sideways momentum, okay, bear with me here, guys. I mean, we're probably going to have to talk about more levels only, okay? We're just mapping here different possibilities on the chart. And you know, I know this does sound like Chinese for a lot of people because it is very complex to build up here the structure. But yeah, unless this scenario is the one that's going to happen, which is still very possible. Let's take a look. I think it's the 50% Fibonacci that is holding here the resistance. 50% Fibonacci. Could even hit golden pocket, local double top. This could still be the scenario. Or, I mean, I prefer this one. Just because you retraced here yesterday to the 0.88 Fibonacci. So I think what you could do here is literally form a zigzag move. And we're going to have to see the price action develop in the next coming days. You know, between today and tomorrow. I think there's no quick, easy short position. I mean, extension here will be looking pretty interesting from this low to the high to this higher low. One-to-one extension. If we do get up to 79K, we do have a lot of resistance in that area. We do have a very interesting order block right over here. Hang on a second, guys. I'm lagging behind. We're having some lagging issues, guys. Am I lagging? Internet isn't going bad. Mumbai, Dubai. Yeah. Andy's recording from Mumbai. My goodness. So having some internet issues here. Let me just double check. Need to reboot the internet. Let me double check here that the internet is doing well. Apparently it's lagging. Let's go. Let's go. Apparently we are lagging behind. Interneto is not working too well. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. There we go. I think we're coming back, guys. We're coming back. We're coming back. Give us a second. Give us a second. Having some connection issues. Woo! It's horrible. It's like it's not even 360p. A bit. Yeah, let me know if it's better. Half and half. Let me know, guys, if the connection is getting better. All right. Let me just double check here. The connection, it looks like okay now. Please confirm in the comment section, legends, if we do have the connection, which is okay. And we will continue. Let me know, legends, right away in the comment section. Pixelated looks like Minecraft. I know, guys. I know. Let me just double check the connection. All right. 0 out of 10. Very bad, very poor. Let me just double check. Oh my goodness, what's going on? I'm gonna have to restart the Wi-Fi modem. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart the live, guys. Which is, yeah, the quality. For some reason, we're not getting a good connection here. Andy is streaming from his LG smart fridge. Yeah. No rush, do your thing. 42p, yeah, even worse than 42p by the looks of things. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to restart the stream. Oh wow, this is like really bad. Wiggle the cords, too much fib. It's like watching East Asian movies. Very good one there. Underrated comment there. Now short. Well, yeah, I wouldn't say now short. I mean, we need a little bit of more information. This does look like, you know, as we do have a three-wave move, guys, I'm going to have to, we've got a three-wave move here, a three-wave move here. I think we could extend here to the highs. All right, not too interested in the short just yet. As mentioned, we could be forming a possible range here. You know, a triangle. A triangle would be interesting. It's better now. Let's go. Let's go. Nearly got it. Have you paid your bill? Yeah, it seems like I haven't. I'm going to have to check that. They're cutting my internet off. Short if you hate money. Short if you hate money. Wow, that's a good one. Someone very bullish here. It's good now. It's perfecto now, Andy. Nikolai, much love to you, brother. Okay, yeah, let's go right away. Okay, first of all, I mean, I know this sounds extremely like, what the heck are you talking about? But we could be actually ranging, guys, in the next coming hours. Get a pump. A range, what I do mean by a range is that we stay below 81,200 and we stay above 74,400 for now, right? Forming a possible range in between today and tomorrow, right? This is what the range means. It means that we could pump to 79K or even 80K, right? However, what I want to explain here is if this scenario doesn't play out, which is this one, and of course, it becomes very hard to, you know, the short of today, there was a good reason. You moved up in a three-wave bounce, perfect. If you move in a three-wave move down here and you're heading up, it means actually break out and you know, go to higher levels. So there's no good short position in my opinion. If this would have come down to here and then come back up, I would have said, perfect. You have a flat formation in this WXY, right? If we would have retraced all the way down to the lows, close to the lows, 0.88 Fibonacci, or take out the lows, and we would have done this, this, and this, I would have said, Perfect. We got a zigzag, we got a flat, and we got another flat here in your wave Y. That's it, guys. It's time to go down. This double top becomes awesome to short. But we formed a relatively good higher low here. So, you know, if this scenario doesn't play out, which is still very much valid, that you form this move down, you do find resistance here. And you do roll down in this, you know, contracting move. When we take a look at the highs from the zigzag, you got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, then eventually I would expect some bottom formation, hold nicely, get a decent bounce. It's time to look for longs for a bigger bounce. Once that low is claimed and get the reaction and start getting above the lows, right? That's going to be interesting. But yeah, maybe this, you know, shorting a wave 4 in a contracting move, as if you do have other scenarios that can happen, which we do, which is this one, right? And anybody that is not aware, you know, about this possible scenario, let's just get a screenshot here of a complex sideways WXY possibility, right? Which is forming a zigzag. In this case, it's to the downside, but regardless, it's a zigzag, right? Well, it's a flat, sorry. In this case, your W is a flat, it can be a zigzag. Your X can be a zigzag, it can be a flat. And then if your wave W is a zigzag, the only options that you do have is either a flat or a triangle in your wave Y, right? This is why we're talking about maybe we could be ranging here for the next 24 hours, right? And form a lower high, a higher low, and form a triangle, right? Just like this triangle that we formed in the last few months, right? This is part of also a triangle inside of a WXY. It's a much larger one. It's one that we've been talking about here throughout the last few weeks. This one right over here, right? You start forming a bit of a triangle formation. Well, it is possible that we form a triangle here. So as mentioned, I think we're going to be rangy. If we do range in the next 24 hours without taking out $81,000, which I think is not going to happen, who knows? If we stay above the lows, okay? If we stay above the lows of $74,500 and below $81,000, we form a zigzaggy move. We come back down. We come back up. We come back down. I will be looking at a possible triangle. This is a bearish sideways WXY, and eventually you would be looking for that breakdown. What we want to see is this kind of range formation in the next 24 hours, eventually to, you know, to tag it as an A, B, C, D, E right there, right? It's a sideways WXY, and there's high probability that it does not take out $81,000 because you've retraced too low here. I mean, there is the possibility. We can't say it's impossible, of course, but I'm not interested in shorting here. I'm not interested in, you know, I need to see a bit of a range form. If we start pumping very aggressively, then I would say, okay, well, you know, maybe this is going to be a flat structure right over here. And then we come down. This is why $83,000 becomes very interesting. I do not know if we're going to pump up there, guys. I'm sorry. But if we do form a bit of a range, right, as we do have in the last couple of days, a 3-wave structure, and then we form a lower high, very slight lower high. But we have a 3-wave here. We have a possible flat right over here, expanding flat. And if we do form a triangle in the next 24 hours, then what I would be looking at is something like this, right? This is what, you know, I want to detect. If we range, then eventually it's bearish, right? It is bearish because you're coming from a downtrend. This is looking very impulsive. We are downtrending, guys. We shouldn't get too excited with pumps. But we want a bit of more information, right? We're coming from a very aggressive downtrend, and this is just a sideways formation. Let me know if we are good here with the internet, guys. Let me know if the internet is good, guys. We will test 80 to 81K. We will test 80 to 81K. Very possible. I'm not saying we won't. Let me know if the internet's okay, guys. Let me just double check, because we did have some issues here with the internet connection. My goodness. People have dropped off because of the quality. People don't want to see Minecraft kind of YouTube technical analysis. So we need a bit of information here, a little bit more information. So this is literally one scenario that could happen. We do have an interesting order block, 15-minute order block right over here, which could get the reaction as well. As you can see, you do have a nice 15-minute order block right there, which is with the golden pocket from the highs of the range to the lows of the range. Just above that golden pocket, this could be an interesting quick rejection point. It could be a quick rejection area, guys, where you get that nice little pullback. Nice little order block there at the golden pocket. Very specific with local scalps, okay? And we were talking mainly day trading scenarios and little swing trades of a couple of days on the channel, mainly to see what could develop in the next coming hours, right? So, you know, potentially you do get that movement up here, and then you get movement down, and then you form that triangle formation, okay? The idea here in the next 24 hours is the possibility of forming a triangle. Of course, you know, speculating on a triangle when you haven't got the waves, it's like trying to guess, right? We're not here to guess. We're just here to say it's a possibility range that could be formed. And if we do form that triangle eventually, right? Lower high, higher low, lower high. What you're interested is in the E wave, right? You needed the two higher lows, and then the next third lower high is going to be the one that you're interested in the short to get down below $74,000. Okay, and this is literally this kind of formation that could happen, right? You got your zigzag or your flat, and your flat and your zigzag and X, and then, you know, triangle is a possibility, right? So just to be ready for that higher time frame possibility. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if it does, I know it can happen based on the sideways momentum that we are forming in the last few days. As we were talking about yesterday, you know, we're possibly going to hold our ground here in a range. You know, we're not going lower yet, right? A range is highly likely here to be formed, which it is. So, you know, in this range, this is what possibly could happen, right? I will be ready for that scenario if it does happen. Could we, you know, create a massive big pump here? Yeah, I think this is a very high chance rejection area, guys, okay? If we do get to 78,500, I think this area is, you got that 15-minute order block, and it could SFP from the local highs order block right there. When we zoom in on the lower time frame, yeah, this movement is very three-wavy. You got a three-wave move here. You got also a zigzag here. The most bullish case scenario is that you do form a double zigzag kind of move here, right? But yeah, without a doubt, there's a 15-minute order block right there. And taking out the highs is where we have the support resistance flip. So this is going to be a tough nut to crack, okay? 78,500 to 78,600. There's a possible quick rejection pivot right there. We are pumping pretty nicely now. Taking a look at fib levels from the highs of the range to the lows. Yeah, it's a golden pocket with the order block right there. With the support resistance flip, it could be a quick rejection zone, guys. 78,600. Let's see, we're heading up there. It is a very, very aggressive scalp if you do SFP from that level. If you just break up through the order block high, then eventually higher we go, right? Oh, a bit of a thick line right there. Let's just do that. Yeah, interesting level of rejection. Order block. Also with the golden pocket from the highs to the lows. And you also have, for extra resistance, the base that we had yesterday, right? You have got a strong base right there that could be the rejection. If you just rocket out through that level, then higher we go, right? It's important to get the rejection to take that decision with good risk management. I mean, this is the most local level of resistance that we do have right now, is that order block highs with the golden pocket. Looks like it wants to squeeze out. So let's see how we react at that zone. As we have formed, okay, you know, the triangle scenario is a possibility, guys. Triangle scenario here, boom, 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 right? And it just continues ranging from the highs and the lows between today and tomorrow. Is going to be a good moment to really get ready for the short, okay? Of course, we need a lot of waves here. And it's something that could be forming, all right? It's something that could form. Which is literally this right over here, okay? It is possible. It is one scenario that will be looking very interesting, this middle one right there. And a sideways WXY. So we need more information. We need a lower high, we need a higher low, and we need, you know, basically an A, B, C, D, E. I will be ready if we do get that, guys. If we do get this, right, throughout the next 24 hours, I mean, this already would be formed by tomorrow evening, tomorrow morning even. This is the 5-minute chart. So, yeah, this is 24 hours of price action. If we do get rejected, boom, 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 get a bounce, you know, we start ranging. This is going to be bearish. This is going to be ready for the roll down. I mean, it's pretty obvious as well because you're downtrending. So it will just give you an opportunity. That triangle could be formed here. Doesn't matter. It could be formed down here. It doesn't really matter where it's formed. You just need 2 lower highs and 2 higher lows. And then the next wave up, which will be your E wave speculation, is the one that's going to roll down. And that's where I would be ready for the short position. Okay, so it's going to be interesting how it does develop. That order block being a little bit of a reaction zone right now, the 15-minute order block. Very aggressive. I mean, if I wanted to get into a short scalp position here, you know, the order block is getting the resistance. But I really prefer a liquidity grab from a lower high, right? A lower high is a much better short, in my opinion, on the rejection. You know, really get above that lower high and then reject. And that's where you want to sniper the trade. This order block touch, you know, right now is what is providing that resistance. A little bit aggressive for my style of trading. I would have, you know, if I would have got into a short, I want the SFP. If we don't get the SFP, well, if we reject from here, then so be it. It's not my game, right? It's not my game, but order blocks usually get some kind of reaction. It is ending up in a SFP from the highs. Not the short that I would have taken. Anyway, let's see how many likes, guys, we do have. We're going to talk about some other scenarios as well. Of course, we need to take a look at other scenarios. We need to take a look at other scenarios. We are rejecting right there. Somebody was saying that we are going to go up to 81K. Not too sure. I think the range is likely going to continue. We do have the bearish case scenario as well, which is this movement here. Still valid, I have to say. Still kind of valid. still valid, which is eventually coming down, forming that double bottom scenario at 74k, 73.5 maximum. It is definitely a possibility. Let's go through the comment section. Not sure if we want to take a look at some altcoins, or I want to take a look at some news as well with you. That order block is being a tough nut to crack. Right now, just ever so slightly touched the lower order block range. Maybe some of you, we are downtrending, so eventually looking for shorts on movements up is really the way to go. I would have preferred for that order block high to be tapped with the golden pocket for me to get into a short, really, with that swing failure pattern, right? That would have been the ideal scenario. Remember, guys, if you are interested in trading, you do have Weeks, guys. It's an awesome platform. You do get a 50% deposit bonus, okay? Take advantage of this 50% deposit bonus because you get over, $1,000. You need to take advantage of this because this is free money, basically. It's $1,000 maximum. When you deposit $2,000, you're getting $1,000. What you need to do is deposit and transfer the funds to your futures account, right? From spot to futures. In 48 to 72 hours, you're going to get this airdrop of 50%. It's a maximum of $1,000, okay? And that increases your capital so you can get into bigger positions. Take advantage because you also get 25% fee reduction, guys. 25% fee reduction as you sign up with the second link down below. You can choose as well to just sign up with an email and a password with Weeks. You can almost trade anywhere on Weeks, which is great, just with an email and a password, which is phenomenal, guys. It's highly liquid. It's backed up by big exchanges. Take advantage, guys, of the perks that you do have below. Let's go through the comment section because I think Bitcoin, there's so many, this is the thing when you're ranging, guys. When you're ranging, the amount that could happen is a lot, right? We could even form, as there is a higher low here, there is a higher low. There is a zigzag move to the upside here. And yeah, there's a flat or a zigzag. It is a lower high to the downside. So could we be building up another zigzag move here to the upside, double zigzag, right? And start forming a contracting move to the upside, right? It could happen. It could definitely happen. Would be rare, of course, in this downtrend. I don't see any reason to be, this bullish. But it could definitely happen, right? This is when you are ranging and you start hitting the 0.88. You start hitting the 0.88. You hit the 0.88 from this pivot low high to the pivot low. You're very rangy. In a nutshell, we need to understand that the bearish case scenarios have higher probability in a downtrend. There's no big major reason to believe that we're going to pump up to 85k just yet. Could it happen? Absolutely. It could. So this is why spotting all of these different scenarios, right? If we do get a high here and we do reject and we do consolidate, this is going to be extremely bearish. This is just gaining time to roll over down and test the lows. And that's where you form your WXY, right? But we need to range still. So if we do range, be ready to look for this, guys. Be ready to look for a kind of a triangle formation here because it will be bearish. It's a bearish pattern coming from a downtrend. It's a bearish correction. It's just a matter of time that we take out $74,000. One scenario that will be very interesting is, yeah, I mean, there is the potential of a flat here. You would have to come down. It could double bottom and get a quick move up, and then it rolls down. It's literally forming a flat here. But this is just going to be crazy, crazy price action for most, right? You claim the low and you SFP from this low, literally looking for an ABC flat. If it were to roll down here very aggressively, I would say that an SFP is definitely possible to get back up today's highs. It is a possible scenario. Regardless, if it does roll down from here very aggressively to test the lows, there's two reasons to believe it might double bottom. One of them is the WXY, which, you know, in your Y, you can either form the triangle or you can form your flat, right? You got your zigzag here, you got your flat right over here, and you could form another flat right over here, and then it rolls down. Sweep up the lows, sweep up the highs. I mean, a double bottom is aggressive in a downtrend here, but it is not a bad option. And the main reason why, because your bearish case scenario is the WXY. Of course, you would be getting a reaction bounce to possibly claim the highs and then break down. Or you could form this contracting move. And as you do have 5 waves already from this lower high, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You know, a double bottom here is also an option to come back up to the 4th wave. It's very common for that bounce to get above the 4th wave in a corrective move, right? You would expect, or impulsive, it doesn't matter. It's your target zone. So there are 2 interesting scenarios, whether it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to speculate on the 5th wave bounce to the highs, or the flat, the unfinished WXY here, which your Y could be a flat. So in a double bottom, I know a lot of people will say, you know, I'm not too interested in longing this downtrend, right? But it's the way to go, right? It's where you have the liquidity, right? When you test a low, it either aggressively breaks or it wicks down and gets an epic bounce. So you kind of need to take the chance on a possible SFP. The risk management of these trades are absolutely awesome because you just literally take the shot with good risk management and you look for that rise to the highs. You know, you got a decent stop loss only if you recover above the highs. Now, there's 2 possible setups here where the lows do actually find support and you kind of double bottom, right? And then eventually, if you do get this double bottom, I would be interested in this, you know, sweep up the highs and come down. Eventually, it all sounds like, you know, a big fat nothing burger and just speculating on waves, right? But this is how the market moves. There's many scenarios, and you just need to choose what scenario makes more sense. So yeah, right now, this is what we got. Let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Just in, BlackRock deposit 3,296 BTC worth 259 to Coinbase Prime. Even BlackRock, right? Are they selling Bitcoin? Man, it's panic selling, guys. China issues risk alert for Chinese tourists traveling to US. Oh, it's bullish for 5 minutes until they give us these news. Yes, it is. Right, Michael? Yeah, very interesting. You know, we live in a time where between tariff wars and other news, the markets take a bad hit, right? We do take a bad hit. So we are testing the low no matter what. Manuel, yes, that is totally true. We are testing the lows no matter what. The only massive bullish case scenario would be moving up here in a 5-wave move, contracting move. This would be the only bullish case that is possible. This is kind of the only bullish way that you can look at the charts at the moment. But you need a 5-wave move up here in a contracting move. Of course, forming a second wave right down here at the 0.88 Fibonacci is extremely rare to get an impulsive third wave. This is like unlikely to happen, right? Unless it does happen, then we would say, guys, this is very bullish, right? Then we can speculate on this correction to get, you know, the next wave up. But until we do not get that wave, right, that looks very explosive, we know it's unlikely to happen. So the most the highest probability scenario that could happen here, and it's not high probability, but to be bullish, is eventually you look for that rejection at $83,000. This would be a very, very clear rejection point. Okay, we got the point of control from this entire range, right? It's something that we've been talking about at the beginning of the stream. Point of control. We do have the golden pocket from the highs of the recent drop, right, of last week highs to basically the last couple of days lows. This would be a rejection point, but the only bullish case scenario, and you still need the waves, would be looking at something like this, where you do form a 5-wave move up here, right, in a contracting diagonal. Then you would say, okay, the correction will be very interesting to analyze, to look for a higher low. But you need this, you need a 5-wave move up. You need some intention to reverse here. There's no intention at all to reverse this market. So once we get that, we can talk about, guys, yeah, we're possibly going to reverse. But we need this structure first, right? We need this kind of move, which is not the case. So as it's not the case, you know, lower is likely. And as the price action, why is that the only case that looks possible, right? Why is a contracting move to the upside the only bullish case that we do have available and not a massive third wave impulse? Well, first of all, the price retraced to the 0.88 Fibonacci. Forming a wave 2 at the 0.88 in an impulse is extremely rare. Forming a wave 2 here at the 0.88 Fibonacci and get a massive third wave up is, you hardly see that, guys. You know, out of 500 times, you might see it once or twice, right? It's just something very rare to happen. So you just need to say, okay, well, it's unlikely that we move very aggressively to the upsides because we've retraced to the 0.88 on a possible impulse. That is reason number one. And you know, it is common sometimes to see the 0.88 touch in a wave 2 in a contracting kind of move. This is common, retracing to the 0.88 for your wave 2. But eventually this would be moving up very choppily and you would get an aggressive move down. And then eventually, you know, depending on this movement is where you would be looking for longs. A second reason why an impulse in a third wave here is highly unlikely is because the movement up that we did have on Monday is a 3-wave structure. And with a 3-wave structure, the only possible bullish case scenario is forming a contracting move to the upside, which is formed, right, by 3-wave structures. It's either 5-3-5-3-5 or it's 3-3-3-3-3. So, you know, with that conclusion, the only bullish case scenario is moving up in a contracting move. So it doesn't mean that we cannot hit, you know, 81K and 83K, but, you know, it's the only scenario that you have because 0.88 touch is extremely rare for an impulse later on in a third wave. You moved up in a 3-wave structure here, so that's already not impulsive. So the only scenario is 3-wave here, 3-wave here, you know, and you get up with some kind in a 3-wave structure here to then, you know, form the contracting move. So regardless, the rejection point is $83,000. You know, I do see this being a tough nut to crack. This is a beautiful SFP level, beautiful rejection point, 83,500 or so. If you SFP, even better. This is just a really, really, really good level to reject from. And that's the only bullish case. I mean, we cannot talk about that, guys, because we're in a downtrend. Well, if we do get that movement, I mean, this is a rejection point. There's a good, nice little scalp short, at least to the resistance support flip. I do expect it go lower. But yeah, this is actually a good short. If the price were to shoot up there in the next, you know, 1 to 2 days, This is an epic rejection point. This is the point of control of the last, 4 or 5 weeks. And you got lower highs, and it's actually the golden pocket from the highs to the lows. So yeah, it's very, very good level. We just cannot talk about that, guys, because we're bearish, right? But for all of the bulls out there that are saying, we're going to pump or we bottomed out, realistically, we need a lot of information. And as you come down to the 0.88 here, it's highly likely that you're going to take out that low, especially with this 3-wave move up. So what we're looking at here with high probability is a sideways, complex corrective move that will end up taking out the lows at some point. Let's go through comment section. Say hello to the community. Got 600 people. We did have a little bit of lagging issues before on the stream. Need to solve that. Buy or cry, says Next Car. These are rate times. Great times. Surprise turnaround loading. On the higher time frame, we are expecting a reversal. We are expecting a reversal on the higher time frame because this movement down is not impulsive. And worst case scenario, it's a contracting move, which eventually is going to come to its end stages and we'll get a large relief rally. This. Whether it's going to be very strong and impulsive and head to all-time high or not, well, yeah, it is a zone to really buy up. Swing longs do become tricky. There's no zone to get into swing shorts, guys, because, eventually you are expecting the price to chop here only. This is only chopping lows. The probabilities of a capitulation down here to 50K is very low. Very, very low. Especially, we've already had it on the stock market. Could it go lower? Yes. But the probabilities of capitulating on Bitcoin here now is very, very low probability. Very, very low probability. And, the highest probability is, possibly chopping down to 72, maybe below 70K. But ultimately, we are looking for a pretty strong reversal bounce on the formation in the next coming weeks, okay? And the reason is simple. This is not a strong move down. It's not a strong impulse where you're expecting a wave 3. There's lots of overlap. It's very choppy. The multiple 1-2 scenario is completely, off the cards just because your largest move is in the middle. This cannot be your first 1-2 and then your third one is the largest one. It's just not, no. That doesn't happen. So, yeah. That's basically it. There is a reversal on the formation here, okay? The question is, which is going to be exactly the low? Well, there's a few scenarios. There's the aggressive WXY, which is going to get a dip below 70K. Or there is the contracting moves, right? You are wedging here. You are wedging out. So there's no impulse. There's no impulse analysis here. There's no impulsive move down analysis. All of the movements are either poor in price action, which are the contracting moves, which is slightly testing the lows below 74, 72K. The worst case scenario is this one in the short term, which is the most aggressive corrective move. Zigzag, triangle, and another zigzag here. But this is actually going to be very bullish. This will mean that a big reversal in the coming month. If the stronger we move down now in the next 1 to 2 weeks, the better it will be for the bounce. The better it will be for the bounce. If we bounce from here, there is a big problem based on the bearish scenarios here, which is a leading contracting move. So I prefer the price to go lower in the next couple of weeks very aggressively to get below 70K. That will be bullish for the long term. Legends. We almost got to 500 likes. Almost. So yeah. You said lower and took a long position. Yeah, I take shorts and longs all day, guys. We look for longs and shorts, okay, in the day. It's a day trade. We look for day trades. Took this short. I just got out of the market. It was in that short, but I've got out right now. All of the profits were taken. This short position that was mentioned in the Legends trading community, you know, we did take profits. You know, this is why, you know, a long position here was my long position. I explained this at the beginning of the stream, possibly looking for a zigzag. You got a zigzag here, maybe a zigzag here, maybe it does recover. If you can spot the fifth wave on the C wave to get into a long and speculate on the move, you can, right? So yeah, it's a day trading setups, right? This right over here, you know, the idea to get into a larger move to the downside was very good. However, 60% of the position is closed, right, from this short position. We were looking for the lows. We were looking for lower. But you need to take profits, right, and be defensive. Because if you get into a short position here and you don't have your take profit targets based on reaction at levels, then you literally got stopped out at break even right now, right? And there's no quick short position here, unfortunately. So, you know, we look for little swings of $1,000, right? We get into day trading setups. So, yeah. If we can turn that trade and hold, you know, 30%, 40% of the trade to see if it is going to drop down to the lows where it's our next take profit area, then absolutely golden. But market is in a range, and you need a, you know, if you're shorting, and you need a short and long, short, long, the levels, and go level to level, right? What can we say? You know, it's just we day trade when we realize that a range could be forming, right? Also in yesterday's video that we did not get too much love. You know, the idea was to still range and not take out the low. We did form a higher low. The idea was to range and not break down or move up very aggressively based on yesterday's video, right? We could have gone up and then reject. We could have come down and got the bounce before taking out the low. I mean, we were close. We were close in taking out the low, but ranging for a couple of days was the highest probability based on the price action that we formed here. Legends, thank you very much for joining this stream. We didn't get too many people. People are just not that interested. Treasury Secretary Besant says delisting Chinese stock on the table. This is getting serious. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's getting very serious. Exactly buy, close your eyes for a few weeks at least. If it is still, repeat until otherwise. Nice. Yes, my man. Pump it. What is your TP for the long? The TP for the long, I mean, this is already a TP zone. Eventually, if you swing failure pattern from a high, you need to take the profits. So collecting profits here from the long is a must, right? Taking at least 50%. But realizing that the price could get a little bit more of a three-wave, you know, leave a little bit open. But if you SFP from a high, you need to take profit, which it did. It's not the best short though. Just realizing three-wave move, you know, this could have three-wave move here ever so slightly. You know, you do have a little bit of a five-waver here, even though it, you know, a bit of a kind of a, it's either contracting move or it's either a zigzag, and another zigzag on the formation here. This was a good short just because you had only one zigzag. So it's a good short at the 1.618. But when you have a zigzag down and you're moving up, it's not a great double top for a short because you can zigzag up. One zigzag's good. If you come back up to the highs, the potential for squeezing out here is high. So yeah, not too interested in this swing failure pattern. It could. not too interesting. This SFP becomes interesting. It's going to squeeze up ever so slightly and get to the order block. Get to the top of the order block here on the 15-minute. That is an interesting level, just because you also have the support resistance flip right there. So you can attempt to get above this lower high on the order block, which is also the golden pocket from the high of the range to the low of the range, right? So it's an interesting resistance where the price could reject. It's a nice little scalp SFP. I would wait for that level. You might get a nice move down of, you know, $5, $6, $7, even $1,000 on that rejection. But only if you reject. If you move up from here, then higher we go, right? You just need to let the price go. I haven't got much resistance here. There is a daily level, however, my bad. There is a daily level there at that zone. Yeah, the daily level also is interesting. Daily level is interesting because you have the support resistance flip. So this area becomes interesting. But this double top, no. And the reason is zigzag. You kind of want to squeeze out here. It's not a good double top. Legends, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you very much. Been 2 hours now on the stream. Thank you very much, Legends, for joining. Tomorrow we'll be back. Let's see if we do range and we form that sideways momentum. If we pump, we pump. Thank you very much, everybody. Make sure to take advantage of those bonuses on weeks. Join the Legends trading community if you want more daily updates and setups that is provided every day. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow.